as we kick it off tonight, the first official college football playoff rankings are officially upon us. And if you're on the screen, if you're on our video channels, you can see it there. We'll just
this
run
is
it
the
down.
first I'm seeing it. I was technical difficulties trying to get set up and did not see the list. So here it is.
Here it is. Tennessee 25, Pitt 24, Washington 23, Missouri 22, Michigan 21, Iowa 20, USC 19, Miami with 2 losses in the last 3 weeks falls all the way down to 18.
That's rough.
Georgia Tech with that loss to North Carolina State, they fall to 17. Vanderbilt with a loss, they fall to 16. Louisville gets in at 15. Virginia 14. Utah in at 13. They are playing extremely well.
Sorry, did you say Utes?
Did you say Utes?
Did you say Utes?
Utes.
The Oklahoma Sooners get in at 12. Texas 11, Notre Dame 10, Oregon. And this is I think a substantial difference from the AP because I think they are 6th in the AP. They are number 9. Texas
gave
Tech,
him a bit of a bump down there.
Texas Tech is 8. BYU 7. Ole Miss is 6. And your top 5 for this week: Georgia, Alabama at 4, Texas A&M at 3, Indiana at 2, and no surprise there, the Ohio State Buckeyes are number 1. So before we actually look at the bracket, because there's going to be some differences from what we see on the top 25 to the bracket, Sean. But anything jump out to you as surprising in terms of seeding, in terms of who's in, who's out, when you're just looking at the top 25?
Well, I mean, I don't know if it's as much the committee or if it's as much just the season right now that some of these just feel out of place. Like, obviously, BYU having a tremendous year, but to see them here at 7, I mean, some of the teams that just at the beginning of the year, if you'd have been
right,
Indiana, A&M, Ole Miss, BYU, Texas Tech in. And I might have even been a little baffled at Oklahoma. I probably would have been a little shocked there. Right. So the fact that these teams are now as it sits, would Oklahoma be in?
So that's what we'll touch on here. Touch on here in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think
thing, but yeah,
seeing Oregon get kind of hit a little bit. Obviously, their signature win so far. Now their schedule does get tougher. Has a chance for some signature wins left out there. But their signature win so far, the at Penn State, certainly doesn't quite have the same zeal to it as it once did. Kind of surprised to see them 3 less. Some changes kind of in that 21 to 25 range, some differences from this to the AP. Pitt in they've kind of been on a roll since changing quarterbacks. I
guess the one thing that stands out to me too is and I kind of predicted it when I had Texas losing in my predictions last week, but I said, coming into a top 10 opponent, it's just kind of that perfect storm that if Texas wants to come out there and try to prove everyone right and make a run at this here at the end of the season, that win might just vault them into your first college football rankings. And here we are. They're sitting right there and very much alive. And at least for now.
All right.
At least for now.
Mike says rolling in late like Texas into the 2025 season. A degree of the Arch Manning effect at play here, I feel like, with Texas being where they are. And I know there's Miami fans who are mad right now because they're going, well, Texas gets seated above Oklahoma because of a head-to-head, and yet Notre Dame 10, Miami 18. Miami beat Notre Dame, but also Notre Dame, again, 2 losses, first 2 weeks of the year by a total of 4 points to your number 3 and number 18 team. Miami, 2 losses in the last 3 weeks to unranked opponents. And I think that's the big difference. Like head-to-head is
when you blow unranked games against unranked opponents like that, you can't you can no longer stand on the college football math nonsense. Like you don't get to be like, well, we beat this team and they beat that team. No, you lost 2 games you should have won. Right. Like that's not a thing, right? And can Notre Dame say, well, we also lost 2 games that we could have or should have won? Well, you didn't, but fortunately for you, those are also very good teams, right? Like
correct.
That's the big difference there.
And you basically lost those at the end of the games as well. But let's take a look at the bracket, Sean, because there's a couple of differences. So currently, and again, there's no like your lowest seeded teams by virtue of conference titles are not being vaulted into the bye weeks this year. So your bye weeks, as they stand now, again, and this is the important thing to stress with these rankings number 1 through 8 or something. These are not the final ones. And in fact, there's 2 teams that are ranked in the top 8 that play each other on Saturday. So these will immediately change by next week. But as we sit right now, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M, and Alabama get the bye.
Still think the buys are very, very interesting, like where the seeding is. I mean, I get why, you're following the higher seed. You don't want your 1 having to play a 6 presumably, but yeah, it's
right. Cause currently
they're not reseeding, right? Like
correct.
This is like if Oregon in this scenario were to beat Texas Tech, they would go to Ohio, they would play Ohio State. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, if all of the favorites win, all the higher seeded teams win,
right,
as we saw last year, the bracket plays out the same as if it reseeded. If there's an
plays
upset,
out perfectly, yes,
that's where it gets a little tricky. But one step at a time. So here's where it gets a little tricky. So you have Georgia, Ole Miss, BYU, Texas Tech, Oregon, Notre Dame. Those are in the spots and where they are in the rankings. So 1 through 10 are as they stand. So now you said Oklahoma, you were talking about Oklahoma and Texas, the 11 and 12. Those 2 would be the first teams out right now. And here's why. Because you get the Power 4 conference champions, ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12, and the highest ranked group of 5 champion
gotcha.
would be in.
So because the ACC's not represented
correct
in the top 12, it's not just that weird outlier conference. The ACC is also one that currently has to be subbed in.
Correct. They currently do not have a top 11 or top 12 team.
Cool.
So
and
Virginia,
do they decide which one's 11 and 12 based on where they're at in the rankings?
Yeah. So it's still based on the higher ranked outside of the 12 or the 10 would hold those precedents. So Virginia, who is ranked 14th, they currently would hold the 11 seed. Memphis, who is unranked, they are the highest quote unquote ranked of the group 5 schools. So they would be
they weren't in the 25, right? They were
correct. Yeah,
they were out, but
they are outside.
May have gotten some votes or something, right?
Apparently, the way it was described on the ESPN program is that the committee, if there's so Memphis not in the top 25, they continue to rank until they get to that last seed that's needed to get in. So
they presumably ran like a hypothetical rankings out.
Correct. Until they hit where Memphis was, which probably wasn't that far. Memphis, I believe, this week in the AP is they are 22nd. So I imagine it wouldn't get that far outside.
They get down to like 29 and someone's like, look, man, I got dinner reservations.
Yes, come on.
Can we just throw them in here? Like who's your team? Like, it's Memphis. All right, good. Mine too. 29, then good. 29. And then just let's go get some steak,
Devin checking in the comments there, some dealing with some stuff with the local political campaign
some
things.
Local political schooly type stuff. So
hopefully we can be some distraction for you tonight. But
stick it out with us and I hope that all works out.
So when you're looking at these, what would be your potential first round matchups? You have Memphis traveling to Georgia, Oregon traveling to Texas Tech, Virginia traveling to Ole Miss, and Notre Dame traveling to BYU. What's your most intriguing matchup of those four, Sean?
Well, I mean, with the two fill-in teams, I think those two, like, there's very little mystique there. I mean, obviously, they're games you'll want to watch in case that upset happens, and you're like, oh man, Cinderella team, right? But for me, I mean, in this scenario, it has to be Notre Dame BYU. I mean, whether you're bringing in kind of the religious school side of it or the history side of it, I mean, these are two, very historic universities, as far as United States colleges go, and they're both pretty well renowned athletic departments as well at those schools. And there are two schools that haven't played each other a lot recently, if ever. I mean, I don't know the total tally, but I think that kind of history and mystique and whatever else kind of really makes that one fun, and having to play Notre Dame in the playoffs and do so at home is a big that'd be a big ticket. I think Notre Dame BYU. I'm not saying Oregon Texas Tech wouldn't be a good game. I just don't necessarily see that as any type of rivalry or draw or big flashy matchup there. So the only one really to me that stands out as two big programs that would be a big sell would be that Notre Dame BYU game.
Yeah, and they've played 7 times before. Most recently was back in 2022. That was the Shamrock Series game at
right. There was like a special
Allegiant Stadium. There was one, and it was 2004, and I think I even said that to my wife as I saw these matchups come out, and I remember that was the year, and I think this was kind of the beginning of the end of the Tyrone Willingham era.
It's about the time I thought it was.
They had it was what was going to be a big week 1 game against Michigan State, and Notre Dame says, let's go get a warm-up game in Provo. They were supposed to play them in like October. They worked out a deal. They moved it up to the first week of the season, and they went out to Provo and lost 20-17 to BYU at the time. Was so you got off the season to a rough start there. BYU's only other win in the series came back in 1994. Otherwise, Notre Dame has 5 of the 7 5 victories in the 7 matchups in the series.
What in the world happened in Montreal? I logged on. It was 3-0 Philadelphia. It's 4-3 Montreal. What in the world?
Oh, it sounds like the Canadians scored a lot of goals, Sean.
Oh, that makes sense. I guess that's you're probably right. I'm not watching it, but I'd assume that's
probably what happened. Jordan here in the comments said the intriguing matchup is the Memphis at Georgia. And
I don't hate that as a pick.
That's a fun one, man, because obviously Georgia, much tougher competition than Memphis, but like that's one where when you looked at last year and you Penn State going into the Fiesta Bowl at playing against BYU, you didn't really feel like there stood a lot of chance there, and not that I'm necessarily going, I'm locking up that Memphis victory, but I think that's a fun game. Oregon Texas Tech, I mean, you're going to get a lot of points. I'm sure.
One would think, yeah.
Virginia Ole Miss, that feels, I think, fairly simple, probably for Ole Miss. But
probably. I mean,
again,
they're very capable
can't
of
really
implosion, but that would take a pretty big implosion, I would think.
But I obviously like the Notre Dame BYU matchup as well. But and only because as well, like last year, BYU fans spent a lot of time, a lot of energy talking about Notre Dame and how they shouldn't be ranked and they shouldn't be near the rankings. So they lost to Northern Illinois. And then BYU forgot to do the thing that they had to do to get in, and that was win football games. This year, I'm already seeing.
You don't want to forget that.
I'm already seeing BYU fans getting awful mouthy about Notre Dame being near the top 10 in the AP. Meanwhile, BYU above them in the AP, still above them, in the college football playoff rankings as well. Would be a real shame if BYU forgot to take their show on the road to Texas Tech this Saturday. We'll talk about that game here in just a second. But I don't think there's really a whole lot that right now I disagree with. I think one of the more egregious parts about the top 25 this week to me feels like Texas at 11. And it does that very much feels like it's a Manning, like it's the Arch Manning show. Like I feel like, and I get it, they did beat Oklahoma, but I there is nothing about Texas right now that says 11th best team in the country. That to me
no,
is
I mean, if I was a team, and I don't know that Oklahoma's that much better anyway. I mean, they lost to them, so yikes. But
Jordan in the comments here says he thinks BYU will drop a few notches this weekend. I tend to think so as well, but we'll see.
I think as other teams do things and they maybe don't, you might see that. But I don't know. Vanderbilt, I mean, I know you took one in the chin, but I feel like maybe that matchup last week that kind of vaulted Texas up. I also feel like it may have knocked Vanderbilt down a bit far. I don't.
It's one of the hard parts about being kind of that like Cinderella story.
Right, is like once you're not, like you're allowed up there as long as you're unbeatable. Like as long as you're just out there crushing it and we have no reason to knock you down. As soon as you give someone a reason to, they're like, oh, okay, they are who we thought. Like, they're still not who you thought they were.
Right.
Like they're way better than anybody thought Vanderbilt was going to be, and I think they're better than some of the teams.
They are who we thought they were.
Yeah, the media always tends to pounce on that pretty quick. 3 games left for Vanderbilt. Auburn, Kentucky should, in my opinion, be fairly simple wins. A closing game end of November at Tennessee, currently ranked 25th, is going to be kind of their opportunity to put a stamp on it. And as it shapes up right now, they'd have to move up 6 spots over the next month. So not impossible, especially with some other teams up there having to play each other. But a little bit of an uphill climb, I think, for Vanderbilt at this point.
Man, I gotta say this, checking in on the out of town scoreboard here, they mentioned the Flyers. I was a little disappointed. I was like, man, I can't get the Sixers on. I was looking forward to very rare that I would be disappointed I would miss a basketball game. Currently at halftime, Sixers up 19. 75-56 at the half in Chicago. So
that's the thing, man. Like, I have some friends who the football seasons are not going so well for them. Obviously, baseball season in Philly did not finish the way a lot of people thought it would.
No.
And they're like, I already saw some people going like, well, pitchers and catchers report 99 days. I'm like, hey, I'm not even a fan of your hockey team. I'm a casual observer of your basketball team. Those teams are overachieving like hell right now.
Well,
so
the Flyers look, very good. I mean, they're dropping some games that they probably should stay in, but they're playing way better hockey. They're way ahead. They made a couple moves. They're proving they're not afraid to buy some folks, and they're out there winning again. The Sixers are just
they're keep
rolling. They have one loss by 1 point.
Man.
That's where they're at.
It's pretty wild. So
go Sixers. Why not? Go get them, bud. Let's go do this.
That's where we'll wrap up the college football playoff rankings for the week.
Good to see him here. I mean, it's disappointing a little bit because it means the end is nigh. But still kind of fun to see it start to shape out instead of a lot of hypotheticals and predictions and things. So